Her message came at 2:14 a.m. No greeting, no explanation, just a single surgical line of text. You're no longer needed. HR will finalize your exit today. I stared at the screen, silent, for a full minute. Reread it once, then again, and then quietly I laughed. Of all the ways she could have buried the knife, this was the cleanest, the coldest, the most calculated. I was sitting in a hotel suite, 20 floors above the Shanghai skyline. The curtains were still drawn back from the night before, city lights flickering like dying stars. Room service sat untouched on the table, lobster, scallops, something extravagant I no longer had an appetite for. My tie was still looped over the doorknob, stiff with yesterday's sweat. I had just hit send on the final version of a contract that would transfer $42 million into our company's account by morning. Every clause, every term, every footnote. I had written them. I had negotiated it start to finish. She knew that. Of course she did. She knew everything. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that when I pressed send, the money didn't go to the company. It went to a dormant offshore account registered under a holding company I created years ago. Quiet, legal, invisible. And then came her text. She hadn't seen the file yet. Not really. Not closely. She thought it was her victory. Her clean break. The final cut. By 2:16 a.m., she had sent 129 messages. Not one of them was an apology. 6 months earlier, the cracks had started to show. She stopped looking me in the eye during meetings. Her smile, once so quick, so real, became forced, stretched too thin. At first I told myself it was stress. Expansion, investors, late nights. The pressure was immense, but it wasn't pressure. It was guilt. I first saw it in her assistant, Aaron. The way his fingers paused over the keyboard when I mentioned a dinner that never happened. A blink, a breath. Barely a stutter, but it was enough if you knew how to look. Then the burner phone, tucked in her gym bag. No contacts saved, just a thread of deleted messages. One number. I didn't ask. I didn't confront her. Not because I trusted her, because I wanted to be sure. I've always believed, when you strike, you don't flinch. You wait. You gather. You study. We built the company together. Her vision, my execution. She pitched the dream. I made it real. She shook hands and smiled for the cameras. I read the fine print, rewrote the terms, built the empire behind the curtain. And little by little, she made me invisible, until she believed she didn't need me at all. I let her believe it. For 41 days, I kept my expression neutral, slept beside her, kissed her shoulder in the mornings, smiled across conference tables. But I was watching. I bought a second phone, synced her devices while she was in the shower. She wasn't careful. Guilt makes people arrogant. His name was Carter, head of strategy, my second in command. The affair was subtle, code words, strategic scheduling, working lunches. But nothing stays hidden when you already know what to look for. I traced it all. The flight to Berlin, a private hotel suite, room service for two toothbrushes in the bathroom. I documented everything, and I said nothing. Instead, I built my exit. Quietly, carefully. I rewrote the deal's architecture, rerouted the payment through the dormant company. I handed her the final contract with a smile. She skimmed it, initialed each page, trusted me as always. She never saw the bait. At 1:37 a.m., the wire cleared. $42 million. Clean, irrevocable. Exactly 1 minute later, I forwarded the finalized deal to legal, finance, the board. No message, just a file. Then came her text. You're no longer needed. She thought she was ending something. She didn't know I had already finished it. When the realization hit, when she opened the file and saw the routing instructions had been altered, her messages changed. The first 20 were sharp, accusatory. Fix this. Where's the payment? Call me now. The next 20 turned panicked. Then came desperation. A voicemail, her voice cracking. Then silence. And finally, one last message. You knew. I arrived at the office just before sunrise. She was already there. Pale, mascara smudged, hair tangled, as if she hadn't slept. She looked up when I walked in, but didn't speak. I didn't sit. I didn't offer comfort. I placed a folder on her desk. Flight receipts, hotel bills, photos, a printed log of her messages to Carter. Her fingers trembled as she turned each page. Then I laid the final document on top. Proof of the transfer, signed contracts, legal routing, ownership shift, every inch of it by the book, her signature on every page. Her mouth opened. I raised a hand. No anger, no drama, just quiet finality. You fired me, I said. Then I turned and walked out. She didn't follow. They called it corporate theft. She screamed at the board, threatened lawsuits. But there was nothing to fight. Every clause, every loophole, every signature, it was all airtight. They removed her quietly. Carter vanished, resigned, or disappeared. I didn't care enough to check. The company folded 6 weeks later, a hollow shell without its spine. I never touched the money. I didn't need it. It was never about revenge. It was about silence. I wanted her to sit in it, feel it, the same silence I had lived in for years. Now, when her name comes up in glossy articles, in whispers at gallery openings, I feel nothing. Not pride, not rage, just this. She played me, so I ended the game. And I made sure she would remember the score. Forever.